Be diving in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Braindance Podcast, where you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm Joe Curley. This is Fresh Lobster, and today we're reviewing every card from the Cyberpunk Trading Card Game released so far. We've literally just finished playing with some of these cards as proxies. It's going to be exciting. I haven't seen all of these cards yet. I think you've seen most of them, haven't you?
Yeah, I have been catching up with most of the official Cyberpunk podcast episodes, with the card reveals, with the production updates, and so on. A couple of interesting ones. Quite a few cards from the alpha kit got changed significantly.
Yes.
So we are just going to do a quick review of every card in the game that's currently revealed. We're going to give it a rating from 1 out of 10 with the info we have so far, just our intuition.
And we've played a lot with the alpha kit. So
yeah.
We've got like a really good understanding of the core game mechanics. Also, we've both got big backgrounds in trading card games. So I think we're going to do a pretty good job overall.
Yeah. And also keep in mind to the audience, we're taping this on July 1st. So by the time the video comes out, there are probably going to be more cards and more context. Yeah. But we'll probably do more episodes like this once all of the cards have been revealed, and also talk more about color synergies and so on. But for now, all the info we have, we'll show cards from the card database, and I'd say we just jump right into it with Color Red First Legend.
Yeah, and I do want to say, I literally finished Cyberpunk last night, the main game. So I'm actually, like, the card game's got me excited even more to catch up with my Cyberpunk. So that's been a lot of fun. But I digress. V's Street Kid, it's a legend. So this is one of the cards starting in your Eddy area. You can call a legend for 1 Eddy. And if you call V Street Kid, of course, you're going to pick one of the 3 legends, and it's going to be randomized. You've got a 1 in 3 chance of doing it. You trash 3, putting 3 cards from the top of your deck into your discard, and you add 1 Braindance program from your trash to your hand. So a Braindance is the name of the podcast, isn't it? There's a lot of Braindance. They're like certain kind of spell cards. And then it's also one of these go solo legends, which you quite like as a one of in the deck, which is basically able to be played as a unit with rush. At some point, it can just attack immediately.
Compared to the legends in the alpha kit, this is understated though. And I think we've heard that the legends are going to be unchanged from the alpha kit.
Right. Okay.
So far, the other ones are 5/7 blocker and 5/8. The question is the effect consistent enough?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive, right? Like the thing you've got to recognize with these go solo cards, I will say I'm not as big of a fan of them. I definitely don't think you play more than 1. I think we can both agree you probably play 1 max. Yep. But I think there's definitely merit to play 1 of these. The reason I don't like it as much is it actually deramps you, right? When you're playing a legend from your Eddy area, it's important to recognize that means you've got 1 less Eddy. So there's definitely some interesting things you can do them. Like you can actually equip gear to this card when it's in the legend area. But it is a little bit expensive. I don't think that the ability is that good either. It's a one-time use. Having said that, when you call it, you get the Braindance. You could leave it in the legend zone, but then you'd probably rather a different legend.
Yeah, what I find tricky is the timing. You usually, with the new rules update, calling a legend only costs 1. You often want to call fairly early, just to fill out your mana curve. And then there's a lower likelihood of hitting your Braindance.
Yep.
I think red decks generally are more unit heavy too, and they like... I'm not sure if they play a lot of Braindances. In a synergistic Braindance deck, this is going to be fairly good because +1 card advantage, and it's still a go solo later, so it's 2 cards in 1 package basically. But to have the effect consistently to return Braindances, you'd want to flip this later.
Yep.
I think it's like an average card, especially if you want to roleplay V Street Kid. You can. For me, this is like 5 or 6 out of 10.
I'm going to go lower.
Fair.
I really don't like it. I don't think I would play it.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. I think it's worse than the go solo cards we've been playing in the alpha kits, and I'm not a big fan of them personally. But maybe, like, if you really want to go solo and you don't have access to some of the others, maybe. Like if you're going full red.
Let's see what the future beholds.
We've got Royce Psycho on the Edge up next, who is costing 6. I'm a bit confused why it says costing at the top. Oh, because it's also go solo.
Yeah.
And it's 6+. During your turn, this legend has +2 power for each of its equipped gear. Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah. So this is a bit similar to the Alpha Kid Jackie Wells, who gets +2 for each gig you have, and it's ridiculously easy to juice him up to like 14 or even 20 power sometimes. This is going to be much harder. Every gear you equip is going to be -1 card in hand. Keep in mind, you can equip gears while this is in your legend area before it enters play with Go Solo.
Which has some like really strong synergies as well, right? Like against me earlier with the card we proxied, you were able to like trigger the gear twice, which like when it's exerted, it does something. So you can exert it in your eddy area, then call it in and trigger those effects twice. So you could get this guy beefed up. It's also really important to know a very important rule in Cyberpunk, which is that if you get 10 power, rather than just stealing 1 dice, you're going to steal 2. So 10 is a really, really important threshold to get to. These Go Solo cards arguably are going to be best in like a tempo-orientated, fast-paced deck, I would imagine. Not necessarily, but the fact that you can get this guy in to 10, potentially with 1 gear, I think the card's a lot better.
In our recent games, I also felt like if you can get to that 10 power threshold with Go Solo cards, it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's such a bigger tempo swing, and it's so much harder to take out on the retrade because you do leave them vulnerable and tapped, exerted, spent. But it's hard to take out the 10 plus power unit for your opponent. So I will say this is definitely the better Go Solo card for red.
Yeah.
This is probably going to see a lot of play, especially paired with yellow as a color that's more gear focused. I will give this a solid 8.5 out of 10.
I think I would agree. And honestly, if I may, I'm just going to readjust. Now I've seen Royce cycle on the edge. I'm going to give this one a 0.5. It's just getting worse in my estimations. I would only play it if there's no other red Go Solo. I just think that Royce overshadows it. It does cost 1 more.
And +1 card in hand, Braindance.
For
so
sure.
maybe more in like a red-blue kind of thing. But yeah, this in a vacuum, this is the better card.
Yep. Adam Smasher, the Ender of Legends. Now that is a card I've already heard about. It's a legend card. It's also Go Solo. Wow. And when you play it, you defeat a rival unit, but it costs you a massive 9. But it's also got 9 power.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really hard to get to 9 eddies, though.
Yeah.
In our games, we barely managed to
I don't think we
this.
ever did it.
Yeah, I think on
Got to
like the
8.
last game, I managed to get to 9 and then lost.
Yeah.
It's tough. Definitely with the extended turn length, it's doable. Now, the question is the payoff big enough for having a legend that does nothing most of the game?
Well, there is also, I know there's a card we're going to look at. I don't know which color it is. Maybe yellow. There's some sort of ramp card that's been revealed.
Yeah, what was it called? Bootleg Black Sapphire or something?
I'm not certain, but yeah, I think if you're pairing red with like a ramp strategy, this is a real option because you've got it guaranteed. It's so much swing, right? You bring it in, it goes solo. You get to defeat a rival unit and attack to claw your way back into the game. Also, if you play some card that gives this like +1, like in the starter set, we had one. Saburo gives this +1 because it's an Arasaka when attacking. Suddenly it's 10, which is a really big threshold, but it is expensive. But obviously, if you can get there, the card is absolutely cracked.
Yeah. Also very easy to just equip 1 small gear to it, +1 power, getting to that threshold easily.
Maybe not that easy. Well, yeah, because you can pre-attach it,
exactly.
Right? You can have it attached and then pay the 9. So it is actually easier. You're right.
Yeah. So a late game bomb. Like thematically, it's also funny that you cannot play this with the Adam Smasher, the yellow one with 15 power, because that requires 6 yellow RAM, and this by default gives 2 red RAM. So this town isn't big enough for 2 Adam Smashers, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
1 Adam Smasher is more than enough, more than most people can handle.
I have a feeling this card's going to be really good, though. It's just going to be a card which, like, maybe it doesn't quite work out straight away, but the more ramp cards are printed, I think that this is just like going to be one of those set 1 iconic kind of cards that people look back at and play for a long time.
What's your rating for this one?
You know, I'm going to give it a solid 7 because I think it's extremely expensive, but I think it just might get better the bigger the card pool.
Okay. I'm actually going to go for a hot take here. I am only going to give it a 2 out of 10 for set 1.
I rate it, yep.
And I think... Yeah, I'm not sure if ramp decks really want to be in red and play that thing.
Sure.
And I will say maybe in the future it could be more of a 5, 6, 7 out of 10. The effect is massive. I just think it's too late compared to a lot of legends that do stuff much earlier in the game.
You'd be really sad, wouldn't you, if you call a legend, of course it's a 1 in 3, you hit this on your second turn.
Yeah.
It's not what you want to be turning over. I don't love the Go Solo legends in general, but this guy, yeah, if you can get to him, my goodness, you're going to struggle to find much better. So we have Rebecca having a moment from Edge Runners. We don't currently have an ability.
Yep.
I'm a big Edge Runners fanboy. They just announced season 2.
They revealed some sick art with Rebecca too, man. It's so good.
So we've got Yorinobu Arasaka embracing destruction. The first time a friendly Arasaka unit attacks each turn, draw 1. Then if you have less than 20 street cred, discard 1. We know this card because it is in the starter deck of the Alpha Kit.
We've played with this card a lot. A lot of strong units have the Arasaka tag.
I'm grabbing it.
Yeah, he's just grabbing it real quick. And this, like, it's not hard for red to get to 20 plus street cred, right? Most of the time, within a couple of turns, we were there. You are usually playing a tempo-oriented deck, so you will be up on gigs often. Very often, it's just an extra draw 1 per turn. I think this legend is really good. I think it's the best out of the 3 in the Alpha Kit. I am giving this one an 8.5 out of 10.
I also really like this card. And what's also important to know is the rule changes improved it a bit as well, right? You can attack with a non-Arasaka unit, steal your opponent's heavy gig die, then attack with your first Arasaka unit and suddenly start drawing. Drawing was pretty difficult to do a lot of the time in the Alpha Kit. When we sort of added some of these proxy cards in, maybe it became a bit easier. That's the big question with this one, really. Like, how easily do you get access to card draw in red? If the answer is not easily at all, then this will be a really nice addition to your deck.
Yeah.
And Arasaka is like a very wide tag. There's a lot of Arasaka cards.
Yeah. The thing is, I think you don't need to spend an extra card to access this card draw. This is just going to start in your legend pool, and just having this passive threat looming the whole time, I think it's pretty darn good.
I like it a lot. It's not necessarily the one you would want to flip on the first turn, though, right? You'd probably like your second or third.
Yeah.
What are you giving it? I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, I said 8.5.
Yep.
You're right, though. Before the rules changes, this was more of a 6 or 7.
Yep.
But it's pretty good now. It's pretty darn good.
Okay, on to the units.
I want to see you pronounce this.
Okay, it's La Yornia.
Almost. Yeah, La Llorona? Llorona? Oh, damn, I can't even do it. Llorona, whatever you want to call it.
The man that speaks Spanish
Ghost
can't do
of
it.
the Past, a Ganger Valentino. Tags that we haven't really seen much synergy yet with the revealed card, but the effect is pretty cool.
Blocker, wow.
Yeah. 3 cost, a 3 power blocker. That's rather rare for us playing the Alpha Kit.
Yep.
When this unit uses blocker, increase a gig by up to 3, which is something that red wants to do a lot.
Oh, the card's brilliant. I mean, blocker's just really, really strong. I think you're almost certainly going to want to have some blockers in your deck. 3 cost, I think, is actually quite an interesting threshold as well. Yes, a 2 cost blocker would be better, but I think that you're getting a big trade up. I think they might have changed the stats on the 2 cost blockers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think they tweaked them. At least Bombus is 0.
Yeah, 0. So the 2 cost blocker is now a 0.
I think the green one is still a 2, though.
Okay, we'll
unfair,
have to see.
man.
Yeah.
How did they do our boy Bombus like that?
But I mean, the fact that this is a 3 for 3, extremely reasonable. The extra ability is definitely not insignificant. We're playing with the card we're going to look at in a moment, which if you have in fact, I can just literally show you. If you have a die with 8 or more, you draw 2, right? This card, we're going to talk about soon, absolute MVP in our games we've just played. So suddenly if you've got a gig this at a 5, the blocker puts it to 8. That's pretty significant for a lot of your cards. So I think it's really good.
I do agree. We can evaluate this better once we see more of the card pool and can evaluate how over-understated, fairly stated this is at 3 cost. I do think it's good too.
Yep.
Not busted, but in red, 7 or 8 out of 10.
I think I give it a 9.
Fair.
But that's just because I think blockers are inherently really good. And as you know, this first set, there's probably not going to be that many blockers. So this is probably one of those cards that is the opposite to Adam Smasher. And I think it gets worse the more sets are out. But I think in set 1, it might just be a staple.
Yeah. One thing I also misjudged before we played our games, blockers are really good in aggressive strategies.
Yes.
Because you can swing and take gigs much more greedily, but it's much harder for your opponent to re-swing and take value trade if you have blockers. Or to like get back to equilibrium with the dice if you threaten to block the attacks of the 10 plus power units. Could be a great tempo card, even though it's a blocker.
Yep.
I'm still curious about the name, how to pronounce it, and what it actually
Wait,
means.
and it can it attack as well? Oh my goodness, it can actually attack. It's a blocker that can attack. Okay, it's a 9.9 out of 10.
Damn,
I think it's just a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
I think it's just a 10 out of 10. We're used to blockers that can't attack, right?
True. That is very good. I still want to call this card too vanilla to give it a 10 rating, but I also move up to 9.
Yep. Okay. I've actually got the Swordwise Hustle. This is an art from the Alpha Kit. It was a vanilla. It was a 3 cost 5. But now it's got an ability. It's only got 3 power, but attack. If this unit has 5+ power, draw 1. I like drawing cards. And obviously you can attack multiple times with this potentially. You are going to have to equip some sort of gear to it most likely, which is not going to be that difficult to do. Having said that, in my experience, I like equipping gear to cards that have big stats already.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I like it that much, if I'm honest. 3/3 without an effect, unless you go out of your way to get it up. I don't know that it's great. It's a very powerful ability though, but I think it might be a bit too janky.
Yeah, the thing is, if you have to equip a card to this, you're going down 1 card to draw 1, then you just equalize the gear you just equipped, and then you need to attack again to gain card advantage.
Yeah.
Another important thing to note here, opposed to the Alpha Kit, it lost an important tag. It's not an Arasaka unit anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't get buffs from Zeburo Arasaka and so on. It's even harder to get to 5 power, bigger investment on gear or something like that. Another question is, will we have a lot of cards that make it easy to attack multiple times?
Right.
So that untap your cards, unspend them. Then the effect has more merit. Right now, I will say this is a below average card.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good budget deck kind of card, right? Like if you're looking to play on a budget, it's not terrible, but I think it's actually pretty underwhelming. But I also like that it's underwhelming because the ability is really powerful. So I like the design of the card a lot. I think it's probably like a 3.5 out of 10.
I was just going to say the same, 3 to 4 out of 10, just for the potential that's there.
Yep.
But the card itself, so far, not good enough.
A little bit lackluster, yeah. We've got the 6th Street Recruits. That is an awesome artwork. My goodness, that looks crazy. It is a 4 cost, 6 power. When a friendly unit steals a D6, which is like specifically one of the die that you actually have, right? Like not just any die that's say 6 on it, like your D6, and it could be any number on that. Increase a gig by up to 6. I almost like value this like if you ignore the ability, it's a 6 for 4. Which is pretty damn good. We know from the Alpha Kit, and they did change them a lot, there were 4 for 7s, and they were without doubt the best cards in the Alpha Kits. Well,
just vanilla stats? No, I agree.
Pretty much. So it's a really good stat line. The ability, I don't think is that impressive because as like a red deck, you probably don't want to roll the D6 early on, and you probably just doesn't steal the D6. They just steal something else. I almost think the ability is like non-existent.
Yeah, it's more about the opponent's D6 though, right? When a friendly unit steals
my
their
mistake.
D6. But I agree with you. If your opponent knows you're playing 6 Street Recruits, they're probably not going to roll the D6.
That makes it a lot better though. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I think your opponent is only going to give you the opportunity to steal a D6 late in the game. And by that point, you already have 20 Street Cred anyway. So I do agree I think this is rarely going to pay off. Unless you're specifically playing against like a blue min gig deck that always wants to roll D4, D6 early. Maybe it's not open deck list, you surprise them with it. The effect is not that strong. The card itself just has such solid stats that I think it's good in the alpha.
I think it's good.
Set 1. I think it's going to fall off over time when power creep kicks in.
Yeah. I'm going to give it like a 7.
Not a 6 out of 10? 6 out of 6?
Honestly, I'm more tempted to go towards 8. I think it might be even like a 7.5. Like these stats make a big difference, but the ability's not all that. So probably a 7, and it might actually go down in my estimations once I see more of the 4 drops.
That's the only thing I'm hesitant of is what are the other cards statted like?
Yeah.
What other premium cards do we have in that slot? I am also, this is above average.
Yep.
For me, again, it's too vanilla to fit into the tight 40 decks, the 40 card slots rather.
Sure.
I'd still give this 6.6 out of 10. Boom.
Nice. Good job. Okay, up next, we've got the card we're talking about. Kerry, Eurodyne, the last rocker boy. If you control a gig with 8+ value, draw 2. And it's a 5 power card for 4. This absolutely carried me in our last game. I got it down early. I rolled my D12, and I very much got lucky by hitting like a 10. And I think it drew me 6 cards. And then what's really important about this is it's still got a pretty decent sized body. So you can draw. But then at some point, you just take a value trade. absolutely brilliant card.
Value trade or your opponent's gigs. The flexibility of this is what makes this card really dangerous. You can use this for tempo, you can use this for value in a color that does not seem to have access to a ton of value yet, but a lot of ways of boosting their gigs. Also, the odds of starting with an A+ gig are not that bad. You get the D12 roll where 2/3 of the rolls, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it's actually more, are going to enable the effect. Then you can still roll the D10, which also has 3 sides, 8, 9, and 10. For set 1, I will give this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I might go 8.5. I think that like 5 power, in the alpha kit, we had the Arasaka Minotaur, which we're going to look at. It's got a new ability, I believe, but it specifically banished a unit or killed a unit with 5 power. So if that's like a threshold that the game designer's already been looking at, maybe this could be a bit easier to remove. We'll have to see. It's definitely really good though, isn't it? And I think it's the kind of card that you would just probably play 3 copies of. I think 3 is a playset in Cyberpunk, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
So I think it's a really good card. I'll give it an 8.5.
Sounds fair.
Might even be a 9 though, to be honest. I just think a lot of the time you're not going to get that roll that you want. Meredith Stout.
That's a cool one. I saw this on the podcast. It is a blocker that is very nicely statted. 4 cost, 5+. So 5 base, and it gets +2 whenever fighting a legend. So if your opponent sends in a Go Solo Legends, this is the blocker you want to have. This beats V Street Kit.
Yeah.
If V Street Kit has no buffs. When a rival adjusts or swaps 1 or more friendly gigs, you may add a card from your trash to your hand. Value Town. Every time that happens, you can do that. This is gonna scare your opponent off, like scaling down your max gigs. And you do need max gigs for a lot of reasons. The only downside is, early in the game,
it says when a rival adjusts or swaps 1 or more friendly gigs, which I would assume means their gigs. So if I'm playing against you, I think, right, because it would be a rival that adjusts a friendly gig, not one of your gigs. So the wording's a bit confusing there. I had it as well the same way, but I think it would be like, let's say your opponent's playing Jackie, they adjust their min die to draw a card. I think that's when you would draw or add from your trash to your hand.
Yeah, I'm actually a bit confused by the wording itself. It's very ambiguous.
Yep.
Could have just said 1 or more of your gigs or of their gigs.
Yes.
I guess for future potential 2v2, 3v3 play, friendly gigs make sense.
Yep.
I mean,
the card's good either way, though.
Yeah,
right?
No matter how it reads, it's a well-stated card with an important keyword that can add value. Only a downside is at the beginning of the game, you usually don't have cards in your trash. Unless you play cards like V Street Kit. There is synergy there in red.
Yeah, I think also like part of the value of the blockers in our games, like in the aggro decks, is that you've got 2 eddies left and you just put down a blocker for like huge tempo. Most likely with this, like you're taking your whole turn to play a blocker. It's a pretty passive strategy, which therefore means it's probably quite good in like a slower deck that takes a while to get going.
But also a blocker that can attack.
Very true.
And it's not that easy for your opponent to retrade. Where are we rating this?
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay. I will actually say this looks to me similar to Carry Utiline's power level. I'm willing to give this a 9 or 9.5 out of 10.
Okay, wow.
I
You like this one?
Even with no synergy, this is a very good card. With a lot of trash synergy, this can be a 10 out of 10 and a staple 3 of. Also very splashable. Just 1 ram.
Yep.
One red ram.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
I could see this, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, the ram cost, if you guys aren't familiar, like basically you can have a max of 6 rams. So if you play like 3 red legends, you would just be locked into playing red, but you would only need 1 red legend to get Meredith in your deck, which is a really good point. That does make her a lot better, I think. I have to boost up my rating a bit based on that.
So maybe there's like some, let's say, red, green gear deck, red, blue Braindance deck that does want to remove some Braindances, use them early, trash some from your deck, and then get them back into your hand. It's definitely this weird card that inhibits your opponent's plays because they're going to be much more hesitant to change values of gigs.
Yep. Okay, up next, we have got El Somberon La Venganza Lenta. How did I do?
Perfectly as always, man. Are you fluent in Spanish? El
Can't say I am.
Sombreron, La Venganza Lenta.
Yeah, that was a bit better. So it's 5 cost, 5 eddies, and it's 4 power plus. When it attacks, You may pay €2, 2 eddies. If you do, this unit gains power equal to a friendly max gig this turn. What? Okay, that's flipping nuts. Are you kidding me? I mean, you can have a max gig at 20. Probably not, but...
But the gig has to be maxed.
Yeah. But you could have a 20 gig.
That's pretty late in the game.
Yeah, but you could have a 24 attack guy if you get lucky.
Yeah, this card used to actually read a bit differently on reveal. I think it was a 4/4, maybe it was a 5/4, but it was more like, what did it say? Something about doubling the attack when it challenges an opponent's unit or something like that. It got a big change here. What do you think of this?
I think the card's extremely good. Like, let's say you've even just got like a, I don't know, there's a D6. Is it a D8 or a D10? I'm not very good with my dice. Is there both?
They all exist.
Okay, cool.
D8, D6, D10?
Yeah, so an 8, if you get an 8, even if you get a 6 on this, it's a 10. And yeah, you have to pay 2 for it. It's really difficult to evaluate.
4 RAM.
Yeah, it's very, very high ceiling, and it's a pretty, like, high floor too. So very risky, but could be winning you the game on its own. I think the more I look at it, the more I don't like it. It's really expensive. 5 cost, and then 2 also to do the attack trigger. And of course, there's no guarantee that you have a max gig. So again, the rule change, meaning that I could attack you first, steal your max gig, and then attack with this. That makes it a little bit more consistent. I'm going to give it a 7. Maybe I want to go lower. It's so difficult to evaluate this one.
Absolutely.
I love the artwork, by the way. Look at that in the blade.
It's amazing. What I find interesting is I wonder if there are going to be sideboards in competitive, because it's going to be incredibly good in a red mirror. If your opponent also wants to go for max gigs, you can much more easily access them by, like you said, stealing one first, then swinging in with this. This trades weirdly because you basically need to pay 7 for a juiced up first attack.
Yeah.
And you usually will get a value trade on your opponent, but then this is very vulnerable. A sitting duck, easy for your opponent to retrade. I think this needs too much build around and it's too inconsistent to be really good. Like, this is a classic card of there will be amazing moments with this.
Yeah.
But on average, I think it's below average.
The more I look at it, the more I don't like it. But that's a sign of a good card design, right? Like, it's an exciting card that maybe actually isn't as good as it first looks. So maybe 4 out of 10?
Yeah. Like, for deck building, I give this a 10 out of 10. But for actual gameplay in set 1, I agree 3 or 4 out of 10 is where I would put it.
Let's keep moving through. We got Royce, Don't Call Me Simon. It's 5 eddies and it's 4 power. And when you play it, you defeat a rival unit with power 2 or less. If you have more street cred than your opponent, defeat a rival unit with 3 power or less instead. So it's pretty expensive, I'm not going to lie, but you can definitely remove blockers with this for the most part, right? And obviously, if you have that street cred, it shouldn't be too difficult to do. You can attack first now, of course, then play this. I think it's pretty easy to meet this condition, actually, with the rules update. So it's definitely a really solid card. A lot of tempo. 4 stats isn't too impressive, but the swing this gives you. A lot of the time, Peter, our matches are really about who can sort of just develop more units, right? So for like an aggressive strategy, this feels like an absolute no-brainer, really.
I agree. Also, only 2 red RAM can be included in a lot of decks. I think as a sideboard card, this is a 20 out of 10. Like, as soon as you realize your opponent plays a bunch of value engines, backline engines, kind of like the Misty that you saw earlier, the Sketchy Ripper, something like that. This is straight up card advantage, tempo advantage. It's a okay statted body that attacks. Now, I'm wondering how good is this in the main deck? I still definitely want to...
This puts me off a bit.
Yeah.
4 power is not a lot, is it?
4/5, but still, I think the tempo swing is so crucial. Yeah. And it can just take out what you currently need to be taken out, either a value engine or a blocker. I think there's not going to be a lot of scenarios where this does not find a target all game.
Yeah, I think the card's really good, to be honest. The more I look at it, it's like, imagine you going second. Royce going second feels so valuable to catch up, right? You can still play this turn 2, right? It's taking up your whole turn, but I do think the card's extremely strong. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm somewhere between 8 and 10 out of 10. Yeah, just because it might sometimes not find targets for a while, I also will give this like I'd stick with you, man. 8.5 sounds perfect.
Yeah, like your opponent could play around this, right? If they read that you've got it, and then it's really awkward in your hand.
Yeah.
You can't sell it, of course, right? So
And in that case, they can also just start rolling their d12 and d10s, and
Mhm.
maybe you just don't meet the condition of having more street cred than the opponent. Definitely a very good card, though.
Yeah.
Could be a 10 out of 10.
it could be. I might even go up to a 9, I think. Now here comes the Minotaur. This card was so broken. Oh, it has the same effect almost. Okay. You know what? The more we played, the less broken I found this card to be. When I first started playing, my first game, I was like, this card is so insane. But it grew on me, like, in terms of balance. And it cost 7. It used to cost 6, right?
Yeah. And it also said if you have 12 plus street cred or something like
Yes.
that, which was ridiculously easy to
Yeah.
fulfill.
But now it's, when you play it, if you have more street cred than a rival, defeat a rival unit with power 5 or less. So again, 5 actually a pretty valuable threshold. We saw that card before that you might want to be removing. Card's extremely good. 7 is a lot, but I think you're happy to play this for 7. Also with Saburo Arasaka, if it is working in the same way, I've got him here, he's in green, we think it is. He gives your Arasaka units +1 when attacking, and suddenly that 10 is really, really big. This is a 9.5 out of 10. Absolutely cracked card. And also, you can attack first, steal their dice. That's such a big swing, right? If you've got a 5 on one of your gigs, if I attack and steal that, that's a 10 street cred swing in my favor. So I think the condition is extremely easy to meet.
I do think the one extra cost matters a lot.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, tempo swing is going to be
That's true.
less in the on the later turn, but huge effect.
Yep.
Also considering that a lot of cards got nerfed a bit stat-wise from the alpha kit, it's easier to hit a 5 or less power target. I agree this is still a great card. Because it's a bit clunky and comes down late and it's not sellable, I give this a 8.5.
Yep.
It's still very good.
I think that's a fair rating. So that is all the units we have so far in red. Onto the equipment. And it's Mantis Blades with a new artwork. I had to sell this card so often, and I was always so sad about it. This card's absolutely flipping brilliant. +2 for 1, and it's sellable. Honestly, Peter, every time I sold this, I was like, I do not want to be selling this, but I had to sell something. I think the card's so damn good. I'm a huge, huge fan of this one.
What's your rating?
I might go as far as saying it's a 9.5 out of 10. I think the card's absolutely extraordinarily good.
Okay.
2 for 1? That's crazy.
I'm going to go with a hot take here. I think there will be a lot more impactful gear.
Sure.
This is too vanilla for my taste. I will say this is incredible in a tempo deck.
Yep.
For the reasons you mentioned.
And I love tempo decks. I'm a filthy aggro player.
Yeah. that was our dynamic earlier in our test games. I was just going full max value, 10 cards in hand, draw. And I just got outsmorked by this guy. I want to just call this card average and give it a 5 or 6 out of 10. I think it has mostly been amazing because we've been playing with such a vanilla card pool. This is for sure going to get power crept in later sets.
Yeah.
But yeah, set 1, it's still kind of good for red though.
Right, Peter, hear me out. It's 1 Eddie for 2 stats on anything you want, and you can sell it.
Yeah, the fact that it's sellable makes it so good.
Yeah.
Again, 6.6 out of 10.
All right, I'm sticking. Honestly, it's my hot take of the video, I think. I think this card is crazy good. I think it's so good. I'm sticking to my 9 out of 10, which is definitely a hot take. So we got Satori Sword of Subaru.
This card got buffed?
Oh, it was already kind of good.
That was... I was just going to say, I would rank this higher than the other one in the alpha kit. And it was a 2 cost +1, and now it's a 2 cost +2.
Yep. This card's really good.
By the way, makes the merc, what's it called? The muscle hustle guy.
Swordwise Hustle.
Swordwise Hustle better. It's much easier to fulfill the condition.
For certain. That's a great card. It's a really, really good card. 2 for 2. Replaces itself immediately if you take a trade. Great card. Honestly, guys, the equipment in this game in general, the gear, is so cracked. I think that these cards are like probably the best cards in the game on average. I think that like because there's no damage counters, just that one little bit of extra damage is creating that one big guy that can't be touched. And it's so much tempo, right? You get access to that immediately. I think that gear is ridiculously good in this game, and I think that's a really good card.
I think it's gonna be a bit worse than we have it in the alpha kit, because in the alpha kit there's almost no interaction.
That's fair. Yeah.
Once we get it, like in the alpha kit, gear is insane because you can be sure that your value trade goes through.
Yeah.
But now if you play against an opponent with some quick hacks and a couple eddies open, it's more of a risk and investment. I still think this card is great. I will rank this higher than Mantis Blades. I'll give this another 8.5 out of 10.
So I feel like I need to adjust my Mantis Blades review now that I see that this got an extra power. Because a big part of the reason I love Mantis Blades so much was that it was just 2. But this is also 2 now, same color. I'm going to knock my Mantis Blades down to an 8, and I'm going to put this to a 9.
It's fair. This is significantly slower, though.
Yeah.
In a tempo deck, the 1 extra Addy matters a lot. Whether or not you can flip a legend, that kind of stuff. Okay, so, moving on.
We're onto the programs now. We've got a 1-cost program. All is lost. Trash 3. Add a unit from among them to your hand.
Sellable.
And it's sellable. So this is like a classic kind of trading card game card where you're looking at 3 cards of your deck. You add 1 to hand. Admittedly, it's a unit. The big question there is what percentage of your deck is actually units? How often are you going to play this and whiff? I would actually imagine more than you might think. More than first meets the eye. Like realistically, if this card misses a unit 5% of the time, I don't think I would want to play it. And honestly, I think there's a pretty good chance it's going to miss 5% of the time. I don't know if this card's any good, you know. Hot take. It looks really good, but I don't know that I like it.
I mean, you need enough sellable cards. Units cannot be sellable.
Yes.
So you need a bunch of program, you need a bunch of gear.
Yes.
The thing is, we saw some cards that have additional benefit to just have cards in your trash.
Sure.
Meredith Scout can pull cards back.
Yes.
V Street Cat has some synergies, there'll surely be more. So I think you don't need to always hit a unit with this. It's a tough one to evaluate without knowing the full set, though.
It really is. I think like you look at it, and I think that like any sane person would say it's good. I'm a bit insane. I think, hot take, it's not that good. Like, okay, what's like a reasonable amount of units? What would you say is like the average unit count? Maybe like
What,
2/3 of your
card
deck, 25 units, 15 sellables, something like that.
Más o menos, something
It's
like
not
that.
going to miss often, but it's probably going to miss at least like 1 in 100, 2 in 100.
And with that count, a lot more often, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, standalone, I agree. It would be absolute garbage, unplayable. It's just the question is how much trashing synergy do we have?
Yeah. The card's good. It's definitely good.
Yeah, I'd say this is neither unplayable nor giga busted because of all of the variables here.
Yeah.
Like you're not always going to hit a unit, but that doesn't necessarily have to be bad because there's other trash recycling kind of synergy.
Yep.
Where do we rank this? This is really hard.
I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 after all that. Because like you look at it on the surface, it's like this card's busted. I still think you're going to play it. You know, like realistically, in set 1, the card pool is as small as it's ever going to be. You're going to want sellable cards. And this is a sellable card that also gives your deck quite a bit of consistency.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be staple to begin with. I do think it's good. I just think the maths isn't quite as good as it might be intuitive.
Yeah, maybe in a unit-heavy deck especially. I'm also wondering if there are a lot of cards that are just like, whenever you play a program or whenever you play a Zeta tech card, something happens that would make it a lot better. It is sellable, so as a tech, but you wouldn't really want to tech this. Yeah, I can't give this much more than a kind of average rating. Let's say 6 out of 10.
Yep, I think that's very fair. Okay, up next, the last red card. This is actually one that we proxied in. I sold it. I never played it. You proxied it in. We swapped decks and I sold it. Did you ever play it?
No, I was never able to play it. I just still think the effect looks great.
Yeah, so do you want to read this one for us?
Let's go. Carnage at the Colosseum, Braindance, and an extreme tag.
Extreme.
Whatever the hell that means. 3 red rams, so most likely at least 2 red legends. Play this program for -1 Eddy for each friendly gig with 8+ value to a minimum of 1. So usually a late game card after you did a bunch of gig fixing, after you rolled a bunch of dice in or stole your opponents, defeat a rival unit with less power than a friendly unit.
So one question I have, and we might not know the answer to this, is a friendly gig, is it any gig I control, or does it specifically have to be one of my gigs I started the game with? I think it's any gig I control.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm pretty sure at the point of time
Yeah, so,
when you have them.
I mean, what, there's 6 dice in the game or so that you could have of this. I guess it's possible to pay for free, but very, very unlikely to ever happen. It's sellable. It's good. Very good. I don't know that I love it. I don't know. What's your thoughts on it? You put it in your deck.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's still a 1-for-1 most of the time, and it's a late game card. The thing is, if this hits a unit with a bunch of gear equipped, it can be a 1-for-3 or something like that.
Sure.
The flexibility is what I like. Red will often have a huge unit at the end, or you can make it huge by equipping gear. I thought this was better and more flexible when I proxied it. It did not pop off that often. 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think I would have agreed with you, but in that context of my hands, I sold it. But I think also that the version of the deck we proxied this into, I was quite low on sellable cards quite often. So maybe that didn't help it.
The fact that it's sellable is so good, though.
If
you play 2 or 3 copies early game.
Yeah, I think the card's really
them
good, to be honest. I think I go up to a 7.5 maybe even. Right, like if you think about it, a lot of the time in the late game, you play a unit, it's got summoning sickness, it can't do anything. Well, you play this instead, and you just remove one of your opponent's units. That might just be enough to win the game, right?
Yeah, another card that would be great in the sideboard, another card that synergizes well. Let's say we have debuffs like for our opponent's power, for our opponent's might.
Yeah,
might make a huge unit much more accessible to remove it. Yeah, it's good but situational.
All right, we are 40 minutes in. We've done 1 color, Peter, so we might have to try and speed up a little bit. There's 4 colors total, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we could do it. We could do it. We've got Dum Dum, Maelstrom Triggerman. So we're into yellow. Cool, you may defeat a friendly gear. If you do, draw 2, otherwise draw 1. And then it's got a quick ability where it costs $1 and you have to exert it. So it's costing you 2 total, right? Give a friendly unit +1 power this turn for each of its equipped gear. So let's start with the cool. The cool's really good. Like, don't defeat a friendly gear. You call it, draw 1. It's already pretty good, right? That's a really good starting point. Are you likely to defeat a gear? Probably not really. I don't think I would want to do that. But you could.
One thing I will mention that Kawa kind of teased in the podcast is there might be gears that actually benefit, that have like a sacrifice effect, like that are good when they leave play, that are destroyed.
And then you can give a friendly unit +1 power this turn, which is a really big deal for each gear. That 1 power can make the big difference, right? You go from 9 to 10.
And it's quick. You can threaten it. You don't have to do it on your swing.
But again, it does cost $2, right? Because you have to pay $1 and exert this in your Legend Zone. So it costs 2. I don't know that the quick effect is that good. But honestly, it's good enough when the first ability is really good. So I actually like this one a lot. I think like both parts of the ability are good, especially the cool effect, honestly. And then the quick effect is just a nice threat to have there.
Yeah. So face value standalone cards, I'd give this like an 8 out of 10. Considering there will probably be gears that benefit from being destroyed and open turn structure, I actually think the quick effect is cracked. You can start with a swing. Your opponent's going to have a tough time blocking because you can boost your units up. And then you can still spend the eddies later on your unit development in case your opponent did not block.
Yeah.
Previously with the closed, secluded turn structure, this would have been a lot worse. I will actually currently give this card a 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
I think this is going to be one of the best and most played legends.
Interesting. Okay. I would not go that high. I will give it an 8.5.
Fair.
But I think you might be right. He knows his blockers. Like, he's been playing a lot of Magic. I'm not so used to blockers. So we've got Kerry, Eurodyne, Axe, Attitude, Audience. Rock a Samurai. When you roll in a gig from your fixed area, so when you roll a gig, you may ignore the result and re-roll it once. When you roll a min or max value on a gig, draw 1. If it's a d20, draw 3 instead. Bad.
I will call this a gambler's dream.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, this is for people who need to feel the dopamine rush of randomness. One thing I will say is that if you roll the d4, it's already 50-50 to draw you a card, right? Okay. 1 and 4 are min and max, 2 and 3 are whiffs. Then on the d6, you have a 1/3 chance. Still, to me, it doesn't do enough.
Card's terrible.
I could see if you have like a super gig dependent deck, maybe with a red splash. It's an idea for creative deck building.
It's cool.
I think it's not worth the legend slot.
No, it's really cool though. But like, imagine you pay 1, call in a legend, and you get this guy. I wouldn't be very happy about it.
Yeah, the thing is also,
you know what would make this guy good if he was like 4 yellow ram. So you like play a bad legend. Because it like lets you play more good yellow cards. Otherwise, No, I think it's really bad. It's the worst card by far of the video.
It's
so
also
far.
really bad if you flip it a second or third legend, or if you can't flip a legend per turn, then you only have 1 or 2 dice left to roll in.
Yeah.
No.
So basically, it's bad as the first legend, bad as the second legend, and bad as the third legend.
Yeah. What do we give this?
0. Don't play it.
I give it a 1.76598 out of 10.
No, you don't. Come on, you know it's a 0.
It says draw on it. Come on, I love value.
Okay, River Ward, Detective on the Hunt. It's got a quick effect where you can play a gear with cost 2 or less from your hand for free. But of course, you have to tap River Ward to do that. So it's actually costing you 1. So that's not very good. When a friendly equipped unit is defeated, search the top 2 cards of your deck and trash 1. I don't like this one either. I don't like that one either. You pay 1 to play a gear. Oh, but you can. Okay, but you can play. Okay, the big thing I'm missing out on is the quick effect. Gear usually, right, is not quick. You can't play gear in your opponent's turn. Well, suddenly now you can. So that's what I'm totally missing with this card. Your 2-cost gear, yes, it only costs 1 now, but moreover, you can do it in response to your opponent attacking or something like this, right? Is that the quick window? Is that when your opponent attacks, you have an opportunity to do a quick effect?
The react effect, and I think also when they declare a block, if I'm not mistaken. So same idea as with the dum-dum effect earlier. You can open your turn with attacking, and your opponent is gonna be sweating on whether or not to block if you can all of a sudden pump 1, 2, 3 extra power on it. Yeah, just the looming threat of this can be really good. Now, what we don't know yet is what exactly does the search keyword mean?
Sure.
Does it mean look at the top 2 cards, trash 1, put the other one back, or does it mean you draw the other one? I don't think it would be draw the other one.
Search the top 2. I guess you leave it on top, right?
Yeah. So it's a bit of deck selection, I think, rather than drawing. If it is draw, then this card is busted.
Yes.
It's another 9 or 10 out of 10. I would assume it's not draw.
Yeah.
What's your rating?
I have a feeling it might be actually really good the more I look at it. That quick effect, being able to turn gear. Victor Vector is probably the next legend we're looking at, was my favorite from the Alpha kit, which also synergizes with gear. I don't know that I love it, I've got to say. I don't know that I love it. I think the second part of the ability is pretty lackluster. This is pretty niche, but it could be unbelievably good. But again, how many 2-cost gear are you really going to have? I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I think in set 1, it's going to be very strong.
Sure.
It's going to be phased out by stronger yellow legends eventually. With the cards we saw so far, there is definitely some gear, not tutoring, but you can fish for gears very effectively.
Yep.
I'm not sure yet if I would pair this with Victor Vector or Dum Dum.
Sure.
Both make sense. I'd say in the alpha kit, in the set 1, this is going to be an 8 out of 10. I think this will see quite a lot of play. It's not busted though.
Yeah. The thing is as well though, like we're saying it might get worse over time, but the bigger the card pool, the more 2-cost gear you have access to. So maybe like in a yellow-red deck where you play Mantis Blade, Satori's Blade.
Yeah.
I could definitely see it being pretty good there. In fact, I can see it being really good there.
There's always a chance that gear archetype is just going to be the best in the game, and then it's a 10 out of 10.
Sure.
But with what we've seen so far,
I think I give it
still good.
7.5. The more I look at it, the more I like it, I think. But we do now have Victor Vector, my goat from the Alpha kit. He is, when called, search the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 2 gears with cost 2 or less and add them to your hand, bottom deck the rest. So if you're looking at top 5 cards, you've got a 40 card deck, you're seeing like an 1/8 of your deck. You're going to miss kind of often with this guy unless you've got a ton of gear that costs 2 or less. So if you're bothering to play this guy, you are all in on that. You want to hit 2 as often as possible. You certainly want to hit at least 1, and it is card draw, right? That's the most important thing. Even if this card just says, search your deck for the top 5 cards, reveal 2 gear that can only be used as eddies, it would still be kind of good, right? Like, because you're digging for cards that can be sold. It gives you so much more freedom with your hand.
Yeah. The downside is this effect only triggers once.
Yes.
A lot of other legends give continuous value, give continuous threats every turn. I think in yellow, it's not going to be that hard. Say 25 units, 15 sellable cards. I think it's not that hard to have like 12 of those 15 sellable cards be gears.
Sure.
I think this can hit for 2 very consistently, or at least 1 almost always. Rarely gonna whiff. How do you rank this?
A 7.
Okay. Given that I think the other 2 the other yellow legends are cracked, I actually think this is not as good.
Yep, I can see it. Because that's really relevant, right? Like, a legend can only be as good as like compared to the other guys. And if the other guys are really good, then Victor Vector can be the third best in the game, but it's hardly going to see play if the other two are better, right?
That's exactly my point. Maybe, especially in the mono yellow deck, if you play all three of those, holy smokes, you have a lineup. But yeah, I think standalone, in a vacuum, this card would be a 7 or 8 out of 10. I think compared to the other legends, this is more of a 5.
Okay.
5. It might be way off here.
Can you give it at least a 5.1 because he's my boy?
I give him a 5.1.
Okay, thank you.
Just for you.
Okay, so that's the legends. And now we have the zero power secondhand Bombus.
Our boys.
And it can attack now, seemingly, but units with 0 power don't steal gigs.
Interesting. So this is in a color that has access to a ridiculous amount of gear.
Yeah, I think it's bad. Do I think it's bad, actually? I think I'm changing my mind. I don't think it's bad. Like, how often was the two stats on a Bombus that relevant? Not really that relevant, was it?
It was for keeping your 2-drops out. That didn't happen in our games, but
it kind of made the 2-drops worse. But I don't think it was super significant. Like, basically, if you play Bombus on turn 1 now, right, it's a lot worse. Because you might have a 2-drop that's got, like, 1 might or 2 might. But realistically, when I'm playing a Bombus, I don't want to play a Bombus on my opening turn. I want to play, like, the Bombus when I've got 2 eddies open and I'm going tempo mode. And then I don't care if it's got 0, 1, 2, 3, to be honest. It costs 2. It's a blocker. It has to still be good. 8.5. 9. I'm going 9 out of 10. Okay. 2 cost blockers just cracked.
In the alpha kit, this is a great card, even though it doesn't look that special at first. I think this is not that good. It's really hard to evaluate.
I'm a big aggro boy, and I would put this in an aggro deck.
Yeah, it's really cool to have a blocker and have access to a lot of gear on it. But I think, like, for example, what we did with the huge Jackie Wells that is a blocker and your opponent can never really effectively swing into you.
Yep.
I would rather do this on Meredith Stout, for example, though. I think this is not worth the deck slot as an unsellable card. I hate to say it, but I will say this version of Bombus is a 2 out of 10. And
clip it.
I might be way wrong here, but this card in the alpha kit is like an 8 out of 10 for sure. But
yeah,
I don't know. With all of the other cards, with probably nerf here, it's really cool that this can swing now, though. But
it's a cool card.
There's no stats.
Yeah, it's hard to evaluate. I'm very curious on that one. I'm also curious about the Sketchy Ripper. He costs 2. He also has 0 power. When you attack, you search the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal a gear, and add it to your hand. Bottom deck the rest. But it's an attack trigger, and it's got 0 stats. So that's a bit awkward.
How wild is the art, by the way?
Yeah, that's Donut.
That's Donut, Siggy on the other hand. One thing that I think might be valuable in the future is triple keyword, Ganger, Ripper, Dog, Scavenger. I don't think any synergies have been revealed between them yet. I think this card is just gonna get better over time, the more cards get revealed. Again, in a vacuum, I first saw this before looking at many of the other cards. I thought this card's kind of bad.
Yep.
You need to put a gear on it in the first place for the attack effect to even trigger, and then it's so easy for your opponent to take this out.
I think you can still attack as a zero cost. It just wouldn't steal a gig.
Right.
You can still attack with it.
True. Still, it does leave it exposed, so usually it kind of replaces itself, but you wasted 2 addies.
It's going to miss a lot. Again, this is one of those cards which I can just tell you from my Disney Lorcana experience, the maths on these cards is always worse than the average player thinks, right? Not that I'm saying you're the average player, you're quite above average, but a lot of our audience, respectfully, you're going to look at this and go, okay, it's just drawing you a card. Honestly, it's going to miss so often. Yeah, it's going to miss.
I do think yellow, maybe there's going to be a gear-heavy deck. Like, you can not play more units than a certain amount because you need Eddy material, but you can technically play a 10-15 unit and 25-30 gear deck.
Yep.
It's hard to evaluate.
I don't like this one. I think it's bad.
Yeah, I got half convinced by the podcast, like talking about retriggering this a couple of times and blah, blah, blah. Like the official Cyberpunk TCG podcast is what I mean, the Cyber Deck podcast. Yeah, after chatting with you and looking at this card and theory crafting a bit more, considering that it might whiff a bunch, it's really bad on tempo. I think there are better ways to tutor gears.
And imagine top decking it in the late game. Like, what the heck are you going to do with that?
Where do we put this?
I really don't like it. I just want some stats.
Yeah. So in my inner debate, I went from 3 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 when I watched the Cyber Deck podcast. And now I think I'm back to like 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think 2.
I think this is going to get better with the keywords.
It's a cool card. I like the card.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's good.
And also the more protection you have blocker-wise, maybe Bombos and this is going to be a sick combo, who knows? And the more easy it is to re-trigger attacks, right? To have units that untap yours, allow it to attack again, whatever. The better the card gets. I think in just the base game pool, set 1, not good enough. Too slow.
But a very nice art and a cool effect.
Dude,
I'm really impressed with the card design.
Design on that card is a 100 out of 10.
I'm honestly really impressed. I'm really excited for this game, man. 4 Eddie cost, 3 power. It's the Gilded Maton.
No idea how to pronounce this. Maton.
Maton. Yeah, and when you play it, so it's on the play effect, you may defeat a friendly gear. If you do, defeat a rival unit with cost 3 or less. Stat-wise, it's very lackluster. 4 cost for this 3 power is really not what I want to be doing. Of course, you've mentioned there's maybe some friendly gear that you actually want to destroy, and being able to destroy a rival unit with cost 3 or less is definitely significant. It can't be bad, but I don't know that I like it that much.
Okay. This is only good if there are enough gears that have strong effects when they are destroyed.
Yeah, you have to destroy a gear for this card to be playable, like every time, right?
Yeah.
If you're ever playing this down and not triggering the play effect, it's so bad. Like maybe losing you the game bad.
Yeah, it's good that it's not impossible to play, but it's not sellable. It's still a unit for 4/3, just way undersetted, under tempoed. Compare this to Royce Don't Call Me Simon. Royce is 10 times better.
Yeah. Okay, and what did we give Royce? An 8.5, 9?
We were between 8 and 10.
So it's a 0.9 or a 1.
I can live with that. No, I
think it's okay.
This can see some play in gear-heavy decks. Again, this entirely depends. If there are at some point in time, if there are enough gears that want to be destroyed, this can be a 9 out of 10.
Definitely.
I think in set 1, this is going to be a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. 2 out of 10. But maybe we get proven wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Hanako Arasaka! I've been playing Cyberpunk, so I'm actually very excited. 4 cost, 1 power. Play. Search the top 4 cards of your deck. Reveal any number of cards with costs equal to any friendly gig values and add them to your hand. Bottom deck the rest. That seems terrible. So how many friendly gigs am I really realistically going to have when I play her? 3, maybe 4. And yeah, look, this card is turbo bad. What the heck is this? Why is it so terrible?
Triple keyword as well, though. I call this a value trap. Again, like people are going to look at the potential. Oh, it might draw me 4 cards and not really consider that, like, what, 80-90% of the time it's only going to draw you 0, 1, 2, 3.
0.
Often 0 because you want to play this in a value-heavy deck, and that deck is usually behind on tempo, and you won't control that many gigs. So, yeah, there are not a lot of gig values that's to choose for the effect. Also, if your opponent knows you play Hanako Arasaka, they're gonna steal all of the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gigs.
And this card, it is a unit. You cannot sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad, Peter. It might be worse than the Rockaboy Legend. It might be worse than the Rockaboy Legend.
Yeah.
1 power. I feel like this could have like 3 power.
Dude, I first saw this card and I got excited because I was like, oh, I love value. This can draw a ton of cards. And then they revealed a lot of cards that can adjust value of gigs. And then I was like, oh my God. The cool thing is open turn structure. You can play some of those so-called gig trips, like adjust the value of one of your gigs by a bit and then play her.
But you don't know what's on top of your deck either, do you, right?
Exactly.
4 cards isn't a lot. I feel like it could be looking deeper. It's just not adding up, is it, this card?
Yeah. Yeah.
0.5.
0.1 because of the 1 power.
Yeah.
It's an insult.
Yeah. Poor Hanako.
Yeah, maybe in the future. If there are effects that allow you to look at the top cards of your deck, this becomes maybe playable. I still don't think it's great.
Yeah, and there's maybe like some kind of deck where you only play 4 drops, right? Because she's a 4 drop herself, and then you just like your whole game plan is. Even that sounds terrible. That sounds really bad.
Yeah. Actually, can we go back to Gilded Matana for a second?
Yeah.
I thought about this for a bit longer. It is still a 4/3 that
is good.
allows you to go 1 for 1, and ideally you destroy a 0/1 cost gear
Sure.
to take out a unit with cost 3 or less. It is like you can gain 2 eddy value there, and then it's all of a sudden a 2/3, which is okay stats. It gives you the choice. It gives you tempo. I think it's not as bad as we first thought.
Yeah. Maybe.
I was just so caught up in comparing it to Royce Don't Call Me Simon, which at face value looks much better.
Definitely.
This could be better.
It really depends on the friendly gears, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you get like 0 cost gear or something, or like a gear which when it's destroyed draws you a card.
And how easy it is to access a lot of gear.
Yeah. I'm still not convinced.
Yeah.
Maybe 4?
Yeah, let's go average. I'll give it 5.
Okay.
Ooh, your boy.
Off-duty Malphony. Oh! Okay, I have a nickname for this card, which I don't think is very franchise friendly, like brand friendly for the official Cyberpunk podcast. I call this Elsa. Because in Disney Arcana, one of the best cards is Elsa Fifth Spirit, which when you play it, taps an opponent's character. And it does get to attack immediately. This doesn't get to attack immediately. But we, in proxies, we were like looking through, and this was the card that caught my eye. I think initially I just wanted to put 3 of this in. I think I just ended up on 1, but it was a pretty impressive card, wasn't it?
I got blown out a lot by this card. It's very hard to play around or predict. This is especially good against engine units that have low power values. Even if you want to take out a specific blocker early to take the opportunity away from your opponent to block later on key turns. It's a bit weird because this is only good when you're ahead, but then it really solidifies your lead.
You know, I even think it's not bad coming from behind, because I think one of the best plays I made with this against you when we played last week was you had like a Delamain cab at 7, and I just tapped your Delamain cab and was able to trade it out with something else. I think, you know, something that cost 8 or had 8 power.
Yeah.
It does come in tapped itself, which is vulnerable. I also think the thing about this card is you have to trigger the on-play, right?
Yeah.
You can't decline. You can, I accidentally missed trigger, and then we're going to call the judge on you. So
Don't do that.
That's a huge downside. Like, imagine you're in top deck mode. You just need any old unit to just stick down on the board, and this arrives. So it's high risk, high reward, but I think the card is exceptional. I think it's so good. It provides you really big value on just trading the board, right? Cyberpunk is very much a game about tempo, right? About can you just get more units on the board than your opponent and just overrun them. And this just helps you take out something almost for free, right? You've got, your opponent's got like a really menacing unit there that's their key card. You tap it, you take it out with something else. It can win you the game.
What I do dislike about it is it's not a good play on curve.
Yes.
Right? You do need a unit that can trade into your opponent's unit besides it.
Yep. And 4 cost, if it's not good on curve, 4 cost is a bit awkward as well, right? Like, what are you going to play alongside this? If you're at 6, a 2 cost. If you're at 7, a 3 cost.
Yeah.
It's quite niche at that stage, right?
Maybe, yeah. If you can do a legend flip and a gear or something like that, it's still good. Still got okay stats. I think this is a solid mid-range unit. I don't think it's too crazy. It's a good effect, but it will often not be that good if your opponent has like the board advantage or the tempo lead or whatever. The good thing in Cyberpunk is units cannot be traded into directly. You first always need to spend them. So even if you're behind on gig tempo, you can still build some units on your board, and then you'll have that traded like unit that can trade with Malphini. I'd give this a 6.6 out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think the card's exceptional. I'm a fanboy of this one.
Okay.
We'll have to see if it ages well, though.
Yeah, it did work greatly for you against me, though.
So we've got T-Bug, the Amateur Philosopher, 4 cost, 4 power. She has a defeated ability. If you know, you know. Look at all friendly face-down legends. Then you may call a legend for free. Not very good once all of your legends are already called.
Yeah, you can play this turn 1 if you're going second, not if you're going first. It's going to have summoning sickness. You first need to swing in the subsequent turn, then your opponent needs to trade. There's a good chance all legends are going to be flipped already.
Yes.
And is the effect even that fucking significant? Like, if it happens, it makes it a 3-cost 4-power unit.
Yeah.
I just feel like this effect is often going to happen when 2 of your legends are already flipped or 3 of your legends are already flipped. Then, like, there's no value in looking at your face-down legends. Similarly, the Kiroshi optics is underwhelming in the alpha kit. I will give this a 2.5 out of 10.
1.5. Don't like it. Not very impressive stats. I don't think the ability is very good either. When legends cost 2, would have been a lot better. Even then, I'm not sure I would have liked it that much. I think there's just better cards to be playing.
Yep.
We've got Caliber. Totentan's top dog.
Totentans means death's dance.
Wow.
The dance of the dead, rather.
Let's go. Okay. 5 power, 5 cost, and when you play it, you defeat a rival unit of cost 2 or less. Which isn't going to be that many units, but if you do hit something, that's really good. And then defeated, a rival discards 1. If the card's cost equals the value of a friendly gig, that rival discards 1 more. I mean, they're just not going to discard a card that equals the cost of a friendly gig, probably. So imagine when it's defeated, your opponent discards 1. But that's a pretty good effect. I love discard cards. You only draw 1 card per turn in Cyberpunk Trading Card Game, right? You start with 6. You draw 7 for your first turn. You're selling. You're playing a card. So your hand is getting whittled down pretty quickly. Very, very similar to some Disney Arcana cards. The danger with this is if your opponent already has no cards left in hand, the defeated effect is totally useless, right? But if your opponent's like at a stage where they've only got 2 cards, maybe 1 card in hand, then they might just leave this for a bit. Having said that, not the most brilliant stats, 5 for 5, but I like it overall. 2 powerful effects.
Yeah. The very cool card is this can go 3 for 1 or 4 for 1, right? So the card in itself can trade with another unit, that's 1 for 1. It can defeat a small unit, that's 2 for 1. It can discard 1, that's 3 for 1. It can discard 2, that's 4 for 1.
Probably discarding 1.
Yeah, most of the time. The dream with this is that you just have a bunch of gigs set up at like 3, 4, 5, 6 cost.
Sure.
And maybe all of the cards in your opponent's hand are going to have that value. Given that you can choose which gigs you steal, you can adjust the value of your gigs. It should be doable to put your opponent in a pickle every now and then.
Yep.
This is better at like competitive play with open deck lists. Also maybe as a sideboard card, something like that. It's still not really super understated.
Yeah, I think it's a really good aggro card. If you're just trying to be aggressive, that on-play effect and then that defeated effect are both applying so much pressure. The best kind of use of like a discard tool in this style of game is when you're playing aggressively, because that you're putting pressure on the board and then you're also putting pressure on their resources in hand.
Yeah.
So I think it's like if this is like a top-end card for an aggro deck, I think it could be pretty good. I wouldn't play it if I'm planning on getting to like 8 or 9 eddies, I wouldn't play this. But if I'm like maxing out at like 5 eddies or so, or not wanting to go much further, I think it could be extremely good top end.
I agree. Aggro and mid-range, I can see it. Mm-hmm. Also, only true RAM.
Yep.
Pretty good inclusion in other decks and other colors, very splashable.
And I also think like 2-drops are going to be very popular, right? Because the player going first can only spend 2 eddies on the first turn, which leads me to believe that 2-drops are going to be very staple cards and are going to be all over the place. Which, with that in mind, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's an 8.
Yeah, I'm giving this an 8 or a 9 as well. If there's going to be a sideboard, again, this is easily a 10 to include in the sideboard. It depends on how good the 2-drops are in this game, how frequent they will be, and what the meta shapes up to be if that plays a lot of 2-drops. If there are a lot of 2-drops, this is a 10 out of 10.
Okay, up next. This card was so broken in the alpha kit, it surely has changed its ability. It's Jackie Wells' Ride or Die Choom. It's 6 power, 6 cost rather, 6 eddies, and it's 8+. When it attacks, give this unit +2 power this turn for each friendly gig with an even value, and when defeated, draw 1 for each friendly gig with an odd value.
Okay.
So you only need 1 even gig, and it's at 10, which is a really important threshold because that's going to steal 2 gear. And yet this is a lot worse than it was in the alpha, because before it would just get +2 for every friendly gig you have, and it didn't have this defeated ability.
So broken in the alpha kit.
Because even when defending, it would be big as well, right? It would blocker.
Yeah, and you just put the equipment that gives a blocker to it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Such a wall. Okay, so conflicting effects. One wants a lot of even, one wants a lot of odd. Realistically, you'll often have a mixture of both, and then you get quite a bit of value on both sides. The question is this good enough to justify being at cost 6?
I'm unconvinced. It's close. It's close. 6 is a lot. If you ramp into it and you get it down on, the turn sooner, I think it might be good enough. I think it's pretty much there, but 6 is quite slow and it doesn't do anything the turn you play it, right? That's a big deal. It's pretty expensive and it takes a turn for it to really impact the board. I think probably with the fact that the rules changed and it's a bit harder to win the game, right? You need 7 dice to start your turn to win. I think it's just about going to be, you're going to have long enough to survive. And therefore, if you've just about got long enough to survive, it's going to be really good, right? It's a really fine margin. If you get blown out before this can impact the game properly, it's bad. But I think that you can get there before you get blown out. And therefore, I think it's really good.
I actually think this card's really good. The longer I look at it, I think it's often going to play naturally nicely. The reason is it's slow, I give it that, but then it often hits for 2 gigs, and then your opponent needs to take care of it because it threatens to hit for 2 gigs again. If it hits for 2 gigs, you can get their odd gigs, and then your opponent defeats it, and it's going to draw 2, 3, 4 cards.
Yeah.
Seems good to me, but definitely a value powerhouse. I could see this be like a top end in mid-range decks as a value engine, and definitely ramp/control decks are going to want to play this.
Yeah, if you can just get it down 1 turn earlier, it really just changes the evaluation totally, and it just becomes extremely good. Yeah. So I have a feeling it actually might just be extremely good, very staple for a ramp deck, right? You start with 4 eddies in your first turn. If you're ramping, if you play some 4-cost ramp card or so, you can play this in your second turn.
Could be great, yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I will say it is being held back by being a bit clunky and a bit slow. Yep. I give this an 8 out of 10 in homage to the new power value it has.
Let's stick with 8 out of 10. I think that's very fair. But there is one more yellow card, and it's the big guy.
Mr. Atom Smasher, Metal Over Meat. 6 yellow ramp can only be played in a mono yellow deck with an incredible effect. 9 cost, 15 might. Play defeat all other units. That includes yours, but also takes out your opponent's stuff. Yeah,
good thing it says other units, because otherwise it would also include itself. It wouldn't be quite as impressive. And of course, that 15 power means that it's going to, when attacking your opponent, it's going to be stealing 2 gig dice. And you can also do all your attacks first, right? Because, now you can attack with everything, steal all their gigs, bam, slam down the big guy, win the game. If you get there, you should be winning the game with this, if this ever hits the board, right?
Yeah, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. Big tempo swing at a very expensive cost as a finisher, kind of. Realistically speaking, in a competitive environment, how good is this card?
Did we ever get close to 9? I think 8 was the tops we got to. So you need to ramp into it, right?
Yeah, it's only going to be good, I think, in ramp decks. You're going to be slow early on. You're going to have to hope to catch up with this. I think this is a Timmy's dream.
Yeah.
The card looks amazing at face value. It's going to create huge moments when you play it. I think you're not going to be able to pull it off consistently enough for this to be actually good. I think the deck is probably going to be tier 2 or 3 in the meta. I could see that. I have a hard time imagining that kind of deck being tier 1.
Yeah.
So I give this, again, standalone, especially card design-wise, this would be a 10 out of 10. A standalone, maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10 because of the huge power this one card possesses. In the context of set 1 and the meta, we expect 4 out of 10.
Yep, maybe 5 for me. I think that if you look at the way the card's balanced, right, it's very expensive at 9, really powerful effect, and 15 power. 15 power is actually a weird number. You would much rather it cost 1 less and have 10 power, for example, right? Yeah. I don't know that there's a huge advantage between 10 and 15.
Yeah.
There definitely is. There definitely is.
Arasaka attack though, Yorinobu value,
Yeah.
Saburo value,
Gonna
only
take you a
plus
while.
4 to hit for 20.
But yeah, if you can get it to 20, then you're cooking, right?
I feel like it's gonna be easier to have Jackie Wells hit for 20 more often than this Adam Smasher.
Yeah. So like 15 is a pretty awkward number in that sense. And you know, these cards are sort of like balanced with their power in mind. So I think, yeah, probably a 6. But we'll have to see. Maybe it's broken. It's got to be good at one point, right?
Yeah, it depends more on the support that the card
Yes.
has. Like, this is definitely a superbly strong finisher, but the question is, how often do you get there?
So I gave Mantis Blades a really, really high rating, right? I gave it like a 9 out of 10 or so. This is Mantis Blades, except it's got 1 power less, and you get to look at a friendly face-down legend. It's significantly worse than Mantis Blades. It's still not bad, though. It's not bad. It's not good, but it is one of those 2 cost or less equipments. I think it's 4 out of 10.
Yeah, this used to be an auto sell for me when we started playing. I at some point realized that +1 power can just be really nice for getting a value trade. The attack effect almost never matters.
It can.
It can, but by the time you have the eddies to play this and you attack, you will usually already have flipped 1 or 2 legends,
Yes.
and then looking at the third is kind of useless. I think there's gonna be better gear. Like in set 1, maybe as a filler if you want to run like...
For the maths as well, right? It's a maths fixer. I've been saying like, the Victor, you really want to hit it. If I'm playing Victor, I'm putting 3 of these in my deck. I think the card's really fine. I can sell it. It's giving me consistency.
Yeah. Say you do want to play like some absurd number of 20 or 30 gears.
Yep.
This is going to find play. This is still often going to be the weakest of those gears. I am only going to give this a 2.5 out of 10.
I'm going to increase my rating. I'm going to give it a solid 5.5. I just think like it's going to get worse over time.
Yeah.
I think it will see play. I really do. Also, like the ability is really interesting because if you've got no legends flipped over, you flip 1, you've got a 1 in 3 to find the exact one you want, right? And then even if you get the wrong one, like if there's a specific one you want, that turns your next one into a 50-50. So the maths on it's kind of interesting in how much it can improve. If you've got like one of these strategies, like if you've got a go solo legend, you really don't want to flip that until your last one, right? And this helps you a bit. I just think, honestly, the reason I like it is because it's a gear. It can be sold, and it's fine. It's not good, but I liked Mantis Blades quite a bit. Yeah, this isn't as good, but...
Yeah, I also go up a bit. Let's say like 3 out of 10,
Sure.
3.5.
Yes, I convinced him. Now, this card is absolutely flipping nutty. This might be one of the best cards in the game, low-key.
Holy, that's a statement. Explain your reasoning.
Just being able to give something, anything blocker is so good. You can sell it in the early game. Again, you're looking at a lot of like these gear effects. Couldn't you also like quick effect give something blocker? Would that work?
I am fairly sure that with Dum Dum and River Ward, this would be doable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your opponent attacks. You can in the reaction window do that and then declare the blocker.
But yeah, I mean, just being able to give anything blocker is so much utility, and it's 1 cost blocker, right? We talked about like how I liked the Bombus being a 2 cost blocker. Well, this is a 1 cost blocker, but it's like way more flexible because you can just put like your Adam Smasher as a blocker if you really need to, right? For example, probably you're not going to do that. But again, it's a sellable card. It provides consistency to cards like Victor Vector. I really, 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 really like this card. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Okay. So my first impression was actually, this is bad. I remember when we started playing this, I almost always sold this. This doesn't give power. Eventually, with the strategy of 1 big unit plus blocker, it grew on me. The issue is, in the alpha kit, there's almost no removal. There's actually no removal for big units, pretty much.
0. Jackie with this, game over.
Yeah, in set 1, there's gonna be more targeted removal, and then your opponent always gains card advantage. It's gonna take out the unit plus this gear, plus maybe more gears attached to it. That makes it a bit more risky. But as we mentioned earlier, if you play this in a gear deck that can quick this out, make a unit a blocker all of a sudden, allow you to value trade that card advantage already made up, and it's a gear, it might trigger some effects. You might sacrifice it later after it did its job. In that gear deck, this could be it's probably a staple 3 of it that makes it a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Outside of that, standalone, just average, above average maybe.
It's a really cool card. Again, I just like the gear. I think the gears are really good. And I like my boy Victor Vector. So the more gear I can play, the better he becomes. Now, this is one we proxied in. My goodness, it's good, isn't it? The Zeka Tech faceplate. It's a 2 for 2, but it's a gear. So it gives something too. But this is the card we mentioned earlier, we alluded to, where you can equip this, you can equip any gear if you want, to a Go Solo Legend card. So it is pretty interesting because then you can spend it in the Legend Zone, trigger the effect, play it onto the board, trigger the effect again. And the effect is, when this unit or legend is spent, adjust a gig by up to 1. That could be yours or your opponent's. Then if you control 3 or more gigs with different values, draw 1. And it's a 2 for 2. That's really good.
And it's sellable. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. This card's kind of busted, no?
yeah. It doesn't look that spectacular standalone, but considering all of the synergies there are in this game, this might be a 10 out of 10.
It might be a 10 out of 10. I think it is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, even if you do that go solo stuff, it is a 2 cost that gives you 2 power, draws 2 cards, so it's already +1 total card, and you will usually get a value trait or 2 gigs, which is also, again, 1 card advantage, and it's hard for your opponent to take out a beefed up go solo unit.
And if you put it on like an 8 power go solo unit, it turns it into a 10, which is then suddenly stealing 2 gigs.
Yeah.
Crazy card.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit busted.
And we didn't even mention the gig adjusting yet.
Yep.
So there is a floor to it. Early on, it doesn't do much. Early on, it's also kind of pricey. I also find myself in situations that I cannot really make use of this until turn 4, 5, 6.
Sure.
I was often behind on tempo, though. If you play this more in a mid-rangey deck where you don't lose that much gig control, it's easier to get to 3 gigs. Different values is pretty easy. Still, it has to be like a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
The more I look at these cards, the more I am sure that I'll be playing red and yellow gear. Honestly.
You are a tempo kind of guy.
I certainly am. And speaking of yellow gear, how about Gorilla Arms? 4 power, 3+ power, and 4 cost. I think it's difficult. Yeah, whatever. I play a lot of card games. It all gets confusing. It does cost 3 yellow ramps. So you need 2 yellow legends for this. And it's also like outside of the threshold of some of the legends, right? Like they want you to have 2 cost gear. So it's quite expensive. The first time this unit steals 1 or more gigs each turn, steal a rival gig with a value not shared by a friendly gig. So basically, you get +3 on something, but moreover, it turns it from stealing 1 gig into 2 gigs. This like steals a whole gig. Imagine you've got a 7 power guy with gorilla arms. That is a 3 gig stealing play. I like tempo. I like winning games. This card wins games, Peter.
It's a great tempo card. So far, from what we've seen so far, I am thinking that the yellow mid-range gear archetype is probably looking like the most versatile and strongest. That is exactly the kind of card you want in this. Sellable early on. This can still be fetched by a card like Victor Vector. I think it's actually good that a card...
I think Victor Vector is 2 or less. Pretty sure.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Let's double check.
I thought it was just 2 gears, but let's double check.
Yeah, it might have changed, honestly. But
yeah, with cost 2 or less.
2 or
okay,
less.
That makes the card significantly less good.
For sure.
I think it's good that this can't be quicked out onto your units. This would be too big of a broken tempo swing and create a lot of feels bad moments. We didn't mention yet that this card is clunky. I'm actually hesitant about this one.
I'm hesitant on this one as well. It's not a card I would play 3 copies of, but as a one-of.
You did proxy this in, and I think you never really got it to work against me, eh? Last week.
Don't think I ever drew it, honestly. I didn't even know
fair.
I proxied it in, so I don't think I ever drew it.
Yeah.
Maybe I sold it.
So as a tempo/finisher, it's really good. This is also a cool card if you play with open deck lists. Your opponent always has to respect if you have 1 or 2 copies in this deck. You might all of a sudden steal 1 or 2 gigs more.
Yeah, I think that if you're playing a hyper aggro strategy, you just want to win the game as quickly as possible. Paying like 4 to get +3 immediately, and potentially like, again, on a 7, that's the best use case, right? On a 7 power guy, suddenly you're paying 4 to get 2 gigs.
Yeah.
Which could be enough to win the game.
Yeah, and it's also, if it's on a unit that can attack, it's basically at instant speed.
Yeah.
The only issue is clunky, and if this gets removed, holy smokes, is that a blowout tempo swing? You usually lose the unit and this gear.
Yeah.
So high risk, high reward.
It's a closer, right?
Yeah. In this tempo aggro mid-range strategy as a 1 or 2 of, I think I will give this an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Above that, not that good.
Yeah.
Specific use case, as a standalone, as a splash at other decks, this is just gonna be, let's say, a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, and the other thing to recognize as well is that it's actually really hard to win as an aggro player in this game to some extent, right? You can't win that quickly because you have to have 7 dice in your control to start the turn, which is a lot, right?
Yeah.
We roll 1 dice each a turn. So like at what point, how quickly can I win? Maybe like turn 5? So
Yeah, but this is a card you would jam on like turns 4, 5, 6, I think.
So it's good. I'm going to give it a 7.
Fair. I can see it.
But I think like as a 1-of especially, or maybe like a 2-of, probably you don't play 3 of them.
Yeah, situational, but because it's sellable, that makes the situationality very good. After Party at Lizzie's is a program. 1 yellow ram, 1 cost. Braindance Mox. Braindance keyword might come up big with cards yet that were not revealed so far. Anyway, adjust the gig by up to 1. If you control 2 or more gigs with different values, draw 1. A so-called cantrip. A cheap spell that replaces itself by drawing. If you control 2 or more gigs with different values.
I don't like it.
Should be very easy to do.
It should be.
Yeah. Now the question is, in itself, it usually doesn't make the cut in a deck. How good is the Braindance keyword?
Ooh.
In a spell slinger deck,
Sure.
this might be a staple 3-of.
Yep.
In anything else, in like gear mid-range, whatever, there's no way this makes the cut.
No. I think like being able to adjust a gig is not worth paying a whole Eddie on it, right? You could be calling a legend with that. You could be playing Mantis Blades, which if you +2, I've told you about Mantis Blades. I like that card. I think this one won't see play. If you're like playing a Braindance deck, maybe you just put this in for that consistency, but I don't think it's like a card that you would be particularly happy about playing. Having said that, maybe we're underestimating the value of having like min gigs and stuff like this, right? Like maybe it's actually really useful turning your D4 from a 2 to a 1. Kind of doubt that it's worth playing in your deck though, realistically. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10.
Woo!
Hot take.
I shall say I will most likely first be absolutely stunning the Braindance archetype with blue and yellow.
Okay.
I looked at this card. I remember there were a couple of cards that said when you play Braindance, something happens. Kawa teased the Judy reveal a million times. She's also going to be Braindance related. I think there's going to be some strong enabling effects in that deck. I think this is going to be a staple 2 or 3-of. I think this is going to be like an 8 or 9 out of 10. The effect itself is unspectacular. I just think it gets a lot done. The question is, how strong is that archetype? Kind of the same question as with the big Adam Smasher, the yellow one, but much lower power level in the card. I agree though, standalone, if you're not playing a specific program / Braindance deck, 1 out of 10 is accurate.
And I haven't seen those other cards yet. This is the beautiful dynamic we've got. Before we filmed it, was like, should we look at them? And I was like, well, it's kind of nice that you've looked at most of them and I haven't. And you've got that different sort of context on each card. So I don't believe you though. I'm sticking with my 1 out of 10, mate.
You could be right.
Oh!
Okay, let's go with the next card. Cyber Psychosis.
Oh, hello.
Quick hack. Very savage R2. 3 cost. Give an equipped unit +3 power this turn for each of its equipped gears. If that unit steals or fights, defeat it at the end of this turn. Oh, if that unit steals or fights. I wonder if there's ever a case where you just scare off your opponent and stop them from swinging. But only 2 yellow ram could be splashed in multicolored decks. You would most want to play this in a gear-heavy archetype though, and they're probably often going to be double or triple yellow.
There was like a card quite similar to this in the alpha kit. I can't remember what it was called. Was it Reboot Optics? It wasn't a quick though, but it was like +4 power and your unit dies at the end of the turn. Pretty much got sold every time, right?
Yeah.
The big part of this is quick.
Quick is huge.
Yeah. So like in an ideal world, what you do with this is your guy's kind of already dying, but then you go Cyber Sucker. I gotta say, holding 3 eddies up though in this game, is that really easy to do? I'm not sure that it is. Is it really like we've not been playing without quick cards, right? But it's all been about eddy efficiency in the alpha kit. Can you maximize every little eddy you've got, every bit of change? So imagine you have to hold up 3 eddies in your opponent's turn, and it's just stuck in your hand, not doing much.
I also think this is going to be better as a proactive card, or at least the threat of having this is going to make it hard for your opponent to block. Or if you just
Right.
right away want to trade a small unit into a much bigger unit. The issue there is you lose a lot of material. On a small unit, you first need to have a bunch of gears equipped, and you lose Cyber Psychosis as a
Yep.
card. Yeah, oh damn. Now that I think about it, I first thought this was way above average, but now that I think about it, that you usually still go like 3-for-1, like small unit plus gear plus Cyber Psychosis, plus maybe even more gear. It might actually be mid.
I don't know that I like it that much, honestly. So what you're saying, like the big part of the quick is you attack your opponent blocks and then you can still go quick afterwards.
Yeah, that, or most of the time your opponent's even going to be scared to block because they're like, oh my god, he might have Cyber Psychosis. Then again, they're often going to be fine if you waste such a big card. Actually, that only matters with big blockers. We haven't really seen many besides Meredith. Now, this is too situational, isn't it?
I don't like the card.
Yeah. I mean, as a finisher, this is probably the best use case.
Sure.
You have a, let's say, 8-power unit with 2 gears equipped, and all of a sudden it's... Okay, no. If you make it a 20, then it's good.
Right, you get plus... Okay, I actually miss that it's plus 3 power for each of its equipped gears. So
Yeah.
you can get it more. Okay, that's what I'd miss.
It's
It is a
hard.
good finisher almost, right? That's
Yeah.
like got some utility in the earlier game.
It's hard, though, to
Good
have
one
this...
of.
Yeah. But even then,
Is
right?
it then?
It's often just going to give you 1 extra die. It's
Yeah.
really hard. Like, you need like 4 gears to make this give you 2 extra die.
Yep, I'm not too high up on it.
The more I think about, like, at first I thought this has to be like a 7 out of 10 as a 1 or 2 off. Now I'm starting to think this might just be unplayable.
I don't like it. 3?
I'd even probably go 2.
Wow.
Maybe even 1. The more I think about it,
It is
cool design.
sellable. It's flexible,
Yeah.
but it's kind of flexibly bad.
It's
don't
just almost never going to be good.
Yep.
Like, it requires such a specific setup. Unless it's super easy to flood with gear,
Mm-hmm.
then it's good. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, probably not. So I go 3, you go 2. Okay, this is a ramp card, but it's very expensive. 5 cost. It's the bootleg Black Sapphire show, and it's a Braindance. You sell the top card of your deck. If you control a gig with an even value and a gig with an odd value, draw 2. So, when I was looking at the Jackie Wells, I was like, oh, if there's a 4 cost ramp, I'm kind of glad there isn't. I think that'll be a bit busted. 5 cost ramp, it's got to be good, mate. If you want to play the big boy Adam Smasher, you play 3 of these in your deck, and it can replace itself. And in fact, it can also draw you cards. Very slow, but if you're building up towards a big bomb, so let's say you play this at 5 eddies, right? You go to 6. Then the next turn, you sell. You're at 7. You play another one of these. Hello, Adam Smasher.
True, but at that point, the gig distribution is going to be scuffed.
Yeah, but then you got a 15-point Adam Smasher, mate. Who cares?
Okay. One important thing to mention: sell the top card of your deck. It comes in ready. You can flip a legend.
Okay.
So the Eddy comes in ready, of course. I will say, game design wise, I actually hate the second part of the text. It makes the card much better, but it is again such a gamble. You will want to play this card on curve most of the time.
Yeah.
And whether or not you have an even and an odd value is most of the time going to be entire RNG. And the effect is enormous for being RNG dependent.
I don't like that either.
Whether or not you draw 2 is so big,
it
especially
should be
for a
like,
control deck.
yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, I get the idea. This basically just says, like, in the late game, this is consistently going to be a 5 mana draw 2. The selling the top card is not going to matter much anymore.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, there was another card we were playing earlier. What was the 0 cost card that you had? What's she called?
Misty.
Yeah, Misty. And Misty has like an effect where it's like, if you get the prediction right, you add that card to hand and you get an Eddy ready. And I was like, it's kind of bad that if you get lucky, you get this double effect. And if you get unlucky, you get nothing. This is kind of the same, right? Drawing 2 or 0 is like unnecessarily big gap. I totally agree with you.
But we're just evaluating. Like, this is probably the first card where I will say, like, I don't really like the card game design.
Yeah.
Still, the art and so on is great. The thematics is great.
I still like the 5 cost sell as well that comes from ready. Just, yeah, I agree with you that even an odd value draw 2, I'd probably just prefer it to just be like if you have an odd draw 1, for example.
Something like that, yeah. Less of a polarizing effect and can just decide games immediately. How strongly do we rate this?
It's got to be extremely good. Everyone's going to play this. I think it's got to be good.
Is this going to be played only in slow decks, or is this also going to be played in
only,
gear decks?
Only in slow decks. You only play this if you just have your whole strategy built around it, right? You just got some big flipping guys. Hello, Adam Smasher, my son.
It is a Braindance too.
Mm-hmm.
Pair this with After Party at Lizzie's. It's much easier to get even an odd value. Then again, you would delay the ramp. So if you play this later, then you're...
Yeah, that's a good point, right? You can adjust your die.
Yeah.
You get rewarded for doing it. I guess that's like one thing. We're being a bit critical of the design. We haven't actually played the card. We might be wrong. The fact that actually this is rewarding you, I think our concern is the fact that you can just randomly get lucky and suddenly draw 2 for no reason.
Yeah,
right?
On curve, this is just too much of a gamble for too big of an effect.
Yeah.
What
are the odds on having an odd and an even if you've got 2 dice? 50-50? Or is it 25? Yeah, 50-50.
Yeah,
right?
50-50.
Yeah.
And you also need to not have like your opponent not stealing a die yet, because you usually play this in slow decks.
Yep.
There's a big threat that your opponent is gonna be much faster than you. This is incredibly tough to evaluate.
Yeah.
We don't know yet what the pace of the meta will be.
Probably quick.
Yeah, there's a good chance that the meta is going to be too fast for these archetypes to be good. I have similar feelings about this card like Adam Smasher.
Yeah.
That at face value, this looks like a 7 or 8 out of 10, but the meta won't allow it to shine.
Sure.
That being said, I think outside of the mono yellow ramp deck, this might see play in a Braindance deck splashed with blue. Because it is a Braindance, it might trigger more on-play effects, and that can make it much better. So I will give this like a 6 out of 10. I think it will see play, but probably not in the tier 1 decks.
Yeah.
Maybe in some, but mostly tier 2 and 3.
So also like a big part of our rating depends on like what other ramp cards are there. If there's like a 4-cost ramp, my feeling of this card goes way down. If this is like the cheapest ramp card, it's just going to see play. It just is.
I think in set 1, this is going to be the only ramp card. Just my gut feeling.
8 out of 10.
It's fair.
Maybe the rest of the deck isn't good enough. 8 out of 10 though, right? You play this in your second turn, very slow start, and if there's like some big 7-cost guys that you can get to the next turn that like clear a threat like the Minotaur, which is not going to be that easy to have street cred with this, but for example, and I think actually you might not be able to play them in the same deck, but if there's like some 7-cost yellow unit that gives you like a big swing play, removing a unit, helps you catch up on the board, I think it's really good. The 7-cost unit with this is the key, really, right?
Absolutely. I will say before our games today, I would have rated this much higher. But today I realized how good tempo is in this game.
Yeah.
How good mana efficiency is. And I fear that tempo might be king in set 1.
I think so, which is good news for me because I love tempo. But we're actually going to leave it there. When we started recording this, we were planning on doing all of the color cards today, but we're going to do the green and blue in the next episode 3 of the Cyber Deck Podcast. No, we're not the Cyber Deck Podcast. That's the official one. We are the Braindance Podcast. It's because he likes Braindance cards.
I might have subconsciously slipped that in. Whoopsie.
But thanks so much for watching. Please do give it a like and subscribe, and also like make sure to come back and check out the next episode as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to move the hot take of the week to the next video too, because we're already an hour and 37 minutes in.
Yeah, it's a slogger.
Yeah, and thanks for tuning in nonetheless. Give this new channel a like, a sub, anything else. And
comment.
It's very important for the algorithm. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Take care.